Welcome to Sane-ish, the podcast for people healing from trauma, addiction, abuse, mental health struggles, grief, narcissists, and every other flavor of chaos life can throw at you. And somehow still functioning, mostly. I'm your host, Holly Broughton, survivor, truth teller, boundary setter, and proud member of the Still Healing, Still Hilarious Club. Around here, we don't do shame or embarrassment. We don't do perfection. Just real talk, dark humor, hard truths, and a whole lot of hope. Because sanity is overrated. And healing? That shit is messy. This is Sane-ish. Let's get into it. Disclaimer. On the Sane-ish podcast, we discuss personal stories of alcoholism, addiction, mental health, chronic illness, narcissistic abuse, domestic violence, SA, HT, parental alienation, grief, loss, homelessness, as well as many other forms of adversities in life. Our intention is to be inspirational, educational, identifiable, and resourceful. The views and experiences shared are in no way meant to praise or condone any illegal or harmful behavior. This content is for educational purposes only and not intended as professional advice. If you or someone you know is struggling with any of the above, we strongly suggest seeking help from a qualified professional, support service, or hotline related to your specific issue. Hey, everybody. We have a special episode today. Ever heard of imposters? Yeah, we're talking about imposters. So welcome back to the Sane-ish podcast. It's where we talk about recovery, mental health, imperfections, things we can't see, healing, trauma, human stuff, all that's in between. I'm your host, Holly, and I can't see, so we take these glasses off and then we'll talk about some important stuff, okay? Hang on, get rid of this. Okay, so we're diving into something that affects way more than most realize. It's called imposter syndrome. It's that voice in your head that says you're not qualified, you're not smart enough, maybe you're blind, you're not doing enough. Eventually, people are going to figure out you have no idea what you're doing. Meanwhile, you're you're literally functioning, surviving, helping people, raising kids, working, healing, building a business, showing up for others, and trying to keep your laundry from becoming an emotional support pile in the corner. So today we're going to unpack what imposter syndrome actually is, where it comes from, and why so many people in recovery and healing spaces experience it, and how to stop letting it control your life. So what is imposter syndrome, and do I suffer from it? Yes. Imposter syndrome is basically a chronic internal belief that despite evidence of your competence, success, growth, or accomplishments, you secretly feel like a fraud. And here's the wild part. It often affects highly capable people the most. People who care deeply, people who are self-aware, people who want to do things correctly, people who understand responsibility and impact. A lot of times, the loudest confidence isn't actual confidence. Sometimes it's just volume. Meanwhile, deeply thoughtful people are over here apologizing for sending emails. So what imposter syndrome sounds like? Imposter syndrome can sound like, I'm not good enough. Someone else could do this better. I don't belong here. I just got lucky. I'm behind in life. I don't know enough yet. people are eventually going to realize I'm a mess. And honestly, sometimes it doesn't even sound dramatic. Sometimes it sounds practical. It disguises itself as perfectionism, overworking, procrastination, over explaining, or never feeling satisfied, no matter how much you accomplish. So for me, imposter syndrome, even though I do a really good job at a lot of things and I get a lot of stuff accomplished, like we discussed in the last episode, I always think I can do more. I should be doing more. And I hold myself up to this standard that I can never reach, which is a part of perfectionism for me. And those are past behaviors for me that I still have to work on. Those are past behaviors for me that I used to drink over, because in my head, I will never be perfect. And the reality is, my imperfections are God's perfection. And God is who I choose to call my higher power. You can choose whatever you choose to call your higher power. So in this healing space, I have to change my perspective on certain things. And the reality is, and what I've found is, when I feel like I don't have my shit together, the reality is 90% of people out there today don't have their shit together either. So I'm really in good company. That's the truth. And if it appears like I have my shit together right now, just so you know, I'm just saying. But anyway, and social media doesn't help. There's all these people putting it out there like they all have their crap together and, oh, we're such a perfect family. Really? So listen, it ain't all that. Trust me. So why recovery and trauma survivors experience this so deeply? I think people in recovery, trauma survivors, abuse survivors, and highly sensitive people experience imposter syndrome on a completely different level sometimes, because many of us were conditioned to question ourselves, minimize ourselves, stay small, fear judgment, fear mistakes, or believe our value depended on performance. A lot of us grew up feeling emotionally unsafe. So visibly can actually feel threatening to the nervous system. Success can feel unsafe. Being seen can feel unsafe. Speaking up can feel unsafe, especially if you were criticized, invalidated, manipulated, gaslit, rejected, or constantly made to feel like you were too much or not enough. And that conditioning doesn't magically disappear just because you start healing. It's deep. So imposter syndrome in recovery spaces, specifically imposter syndrome, can look like feeling not sober enough, not healed enough, not successful enough, not educated enough, or feeling like your story somehow isn't valuable enough to help others. But here's the truth. People don't connect to perfection. They connect to honesty and authenticity. People are not looking for robots. They're looking for real human beings. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, I still struggle too. And I do. That's where real connection happens. And y'all know I'm not perfect, for sure. Social media has absolutely poured gasoline on imposter syndrome, because we're constantly consuming highlight reels, curated success, filtered lifestyle, edited confidence, and polished branding. Meanwhile, you're comparing that to your actual real life, your stress, your bills, your healing, your bad days, your exhaustion, your fears, your behind the scenes reality. And your brain starts thinking everyone has it all together except me. So, like I said, spoiler alert, they do not. Nobody has it fully together. Some people just have better lighting. So, the difference between humility and self abandonment, there's a difference between humility and constantly diminishing yourself. Humility says, I'm still learning. And imposter syndrome says, I'll never be enough. Humility allows growth, and imposter syndrome keeps moving the finish line. No matter what you achieve, it whispers, yeah, but. And if you live your entire life waiting to finally feel fully confident before you start speaking, creating, healing, leading, or pursuing your purpose, you will never begin. What actually helps with imposter syndrome? Number one, recognizing imposter syndrome is often emotional, not factual. Feelings are real, but feelings are not always accurate. So, feelings are not facts. Number two, collect evidence. Keep screenshots, save messages, remember the people that you've helped, track your progress. Because imposter syndrome has a selective memory. Number three, stop treating discomfort like disqualification. Growth feels uncomfortable. Healing feels uncomfortable. Leadership feels uncomfortable. Visibility feels uncomfortable. Discomfort does not automatically mean you're failing. And number four, keep showing up anyway. Confidence usually comes after repetition, not before. So if you've been struggling with imposter syndrome lately, I want you to hear this. You do not have to be perfect to be impactful. You do not have to know everything to help someone. You do not need permission to take up space, and you are allowed to grow while still being a work in progress. Honestly, most of us are just healing, learning, surviving, and trying to remember why we walked into the kitchen for real. And somehow we're still making it happen. So thanks for watching me grow for almost this whole past year, because I've been learning this whole past year with this podcast. June 1st will be my whole year for this podcast, and I appreciate you staying with me. It's been a ride, and I've learned quite a bit. And yes, I've experienced a lot of imposter syndrome, like I'm not doing enough. And a lot of it has been if I struggle doubt, I feel afraid I must not be capable, things like that. I'm not doing it right. How do I do this? I want to be authentic. Nobody's going to like me, but I keep showing up and I keep doing the thing. I've asked myself, who am I to do this? What if I'm not qualified enough? What if people realize I'm not perfect? What if people know I'm not a podcaster? Well, people know I'm not a podcaster. That's why I'm doing it. So I'm sharing with you my life experience and what I'm feeling and what I'm going through, hoping to connect with like-minded individuals, hoping that it is helping people who are struggling with the same things that I am, and hoping I know that I'm not the only one going through these things. But I'm hoping that by me sharing these things with you, that you know that you're not the only one going through those things as well. Not because you're fraudulent, but because you're expanding. And so am I. So I need to let you know that. Don't let this up here tell you a fraudulent thought, because you are qualified enough. And are you honest and willing and informed and genuinely trying to help somebody? If you are, then that's enough, especially in recovery, mental health, peer support, advocacy. Authenticity creates connection far more than a polished expertise. People rarely connect with perfection in those areas. So truth, relatability, courage, humor, humanity, and someone willing to say, yeah, me too. So I hope this resonates with you and helps you with your imposter syndrome, because you're not a fraud unless you've written a few checks with somebody else's name, but we won't go there. Anyway, so that's another part of recovery that you probably should seek help in a different way or talk to somebody too. Anyway, imposter syndrome, just continue to learn, and don't fake positivity if you're going through something, be honest. And feeling unsure while growing does not mean you're pretending. And when I'm going through things, my nervous system is being dramatic again. But then when my nervous system says that, that means I've got stuff I've got to do. So anyway, having said that, thanks for joining me today and appreciate you joining. Agent Sane-ish is signing off, and I'm giving you the okay to be kind to yourself. So peace, love, and be kind, because you never know when you're going to need it. Take care, and we will see you on the next episode.